Life South Community Blood Centers is an emergency need for all types of blood. Our community blood supply is at an emergency level. This means there is little, if any, blood on the shelves at Life South, and our hospital's blood supply is very low. 30 minutes of your time can literally save a life. Do something amazing today. Please donate blood. Call Life South toll-free, 888-795-2707 for more information, or visit www.lifesouth.org and find a blood drive near you. Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
All right, 10 minutes before 11 o'clock, the morning is flying by. Rusty Robertson is on the phone with Karen Taphorn. They are part of an organization called SU2C, which stands for Stand Up to Cancer. Rusty Robertson is the co-founder of SU2C, and Karen Taphorn is the SU2C Survivor Ambassador. They're talking to us about the 4th annual CVS in-store fundraising campaign to support Stand Up to Cancer groundbreaking research, which is all I want to know. I want to know how the research is going. Do we have the news in our future one day that I can announce? Because that'll be my role. My role is to get on the phone, on the radio, and say, guess what? Cancer is cured. And all the thanks and everything goes to everybody else who has done this work, like Rusty and Karen. Good morning to both of you. Thank you for being on the show with us today.
Morning, Larry.
How are you doing, Karen?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Yeah. How long ago did you defeat cancer? I hope that's the right word, defeat.
It is. I was first diagnosed in 2011, went through local hospitals to have melanoma removed, and only to be told 15 months later that it had come back with a vengeance. I had 24 tumors in my lung, and I was then diagnosed with stage 4.
Stage 4?
Yeah, it was...
That's not
stage
good.
4.
That's not
stage
good.
4.
So what?
No.
But you're okay now?
I am perfect now. I was fortunate enough to be offered a clinical trial that was sponsored by Stand Up to Cancer, and within 12 months of being on that 2-year trial, my tumors were gone. They're continue to be gone. I am cancer-free. I'm checked regularly, and I've got the green light.
Oh, my gosh.
And that's in part due to life-saving research of Stand Up to Cancer.
I don't cry, but I feel like crying. That's awesome.
Don't cry. It's a good story.
It's a good story. No, it's a happy cry. I'm a man. I can happy cry. Rusty, it sounds like the work that you're doing is paying off. Thank you for what you're doing. And explain what research has happened that led to that amazing piece of news.
Well, first of all, it came through clinical trials. And, you know, what we do at Stand Up to Cancer, we want to make everybody diagnosed a survivor. You know, live your life with cancer. You know, we can't ever say easily we're going to cure this disease, but we can give people a life to live with it. And our model is to get critical therapies from the bench of a scientist to the bedside of a patient within 3 years. We already have 5 FDA-approved drugs from the FDA within 10 years. But the message here is the critical money that $1 or $3 or anything will take to get to clinical trials. Only 5% of any adult in the United States diagnosed with cancer is participating in a clinical trial. And clinical trials are where you get the newest and the most innovative treatments. So we need people like you to tell everybody, go to standuptocancer.org, /clinical trials, or go and look up clinical trials, become educated, because that truly can help save your life.
And you have had firsthand experience with a loved one with cancer.
You know, when my mother died in 4 Sundays from lung cancer, And my mother did not want to even get a second opinion. Talk about demystifying clinical trials. How about demystifying getting a second opinion? My mother said, I don't want to hurt my doctor's feelings, and I think you both probably understand what that's like. I said, but now we know. I got angry. I didn't do enough, and I didn't even know enough to go and get a clinical trial for my mother. And 4 Sundays after diagnosis, she passed away in my arms, and I said, I have to do something about it, and by the grace of God, I was with some wonderful women at the time here in Los Angeles, Laura Ziskin, Katie Kirk, some people that I was fortunate enough to know through the entertainment work that I do, and we said, we've got to stop this disease. What can we do that's different?
Wow.
And
good for you.
We found out that scientists were not talking to each other, not from one floor to another in hospitals.
Really? You know,
we broke down this thing. Yeah.
I sort of have a question in that line. I was wondering about different parts of the country because, like, we speak to doctors all over the world, Robert and I, because of the radio show, and I'm often wondering if somebody in a small town, like the one we're talking from, might not be better off if they learned about a doctor doing something that was maybe outside the box, to use a cliche, in L.A. or in New York. And I'm not pitting the big cities up against the small towns. I'm just saying the communication might not be as effective as it could be.
Well, you're right, and that's why the power is with the patient. The education is with the patient. Yeah. We've got to tell everybody, if you get or a loved one gets that diagnosis, own that cancer. Look it up, because guess what? You don't know where they are, but if you go, we actually have a free clinical trial finder. So if you go to standup2cancer.org, clinical trials, you will find where the clinical trials are. You're also going to find out what to ask, what to say.
Well, yeah.
The education, sometimes, it's interesting. People say, well, smaller communities, don't have the access. Well, first of all, it's access to what? And one thing that they have to answer is educate yourself. Find out about where you can get the best treatment and what's happening in your community and about clinical trials.
How do you know if a clinical trial, because I think when you said the small number of people that actually participate in clinical trials, I think part of the reason, I mean, you already mentioned it's communication, but I think there's another part, it's fear. Because if it's a trial, it could have the opposite effect too. People say, well, maybe I'd be better off to just, have cancer.
Well, I don't know if they say that. We probably have to hear it from Karen, but I will tell you from my perspective is that there is a myth that people don't understand. Many myths about clinical trials, whether you're getting a sugar pill or whatever it is. This is the time that we need to change it. And the Stand Up to Cancer has made this a huge project called Catalyst.
Well,
so that's what we're doing. But yeah.
And how can we help as being a consumer? How do we help by going to CVS?
Give $1. When you check out and that pin pad says, do you want to donate to Stand Up to Cancer, please give it. It'll say, do you want to give $1 or $3? $1 doesn't have a lot of value anymore, but I can tell you right now, $1 has a lot of value to Stand Up to Cancer and to keeping people alive. And that's going on between now and November 19th. And everybody can go in there and buy a toothpaste. I don't know. Everybody needs to go to CVS between now and November 19th and give $1. That would make the biggest difference to Stand Up to Cancer.
Karen, real quickly before we run out of time, how did you find out about the clinical trial that you participated in?
Larry, it's interesting that you mentioned that, people that are not in the big cities. I didn't come from a big city. I was about 2 hours outside of Manhattan. And the more you ask, the more you find out. It was through one question to another question, then another question led me to somebody who knew someone who knew someone and suggested I go for a clinical trial in a bigger hospital, and that question saved my life.
Wow. Where did you end up? What hospital? Or what city, anyway?
I was Memorial Sloan Kettering.
Okay. StandUp2Cancer.org. I also went to the abbreviated version, SU2C.org. It took me to the same place. Go to that website and help out, and go to CVS and contribute to the fund. Well, I'm going to do this. I've probably done it already and not realized it, because usually when they ask me if I want to contribute, I always say yes, and it comes up on that little pad and it goes automatically. But
exactly.
But thank you, for helping us understand what it is actually and what you're doing, and thank you for what you're doing, because I'm telling you, I want to be the one that takes the credit. I want to be the one who gets on the microphone and says to this town anyway, hey, guess what? There's a cure, and that might not happen in my lifetime, but one day it'll happen. Thank you, ladies. Thank you for taking time to be with us today, and thank
you so much.
Thank you for the great program that you're part of.
Thank you, Larry.
All right, we're up against that break again. Let's do it, and we'll be right back. This is WOCA Ocala.
Gene Powell Pasture Mowing, 352-629-2440. In addition to our pasture mowing service, we also offer fence row spraying. Now is the perfect time to get ahead on weed control for an overall aesthetic appearance. Gene Powell Pasture Mowing, 352-629-2440 or online at powellgene, Gene, @yahoo.com. We are licensed and insured. Gene Powell Pasture Mowing, 352-629-2440.
Cooler weather is perfect camellia time, and that means it's time to visit Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens in Ocala, where you can choose from hundreds of camellias, more than anywhere in this part of Florida. Right now, during their 65th anniversary sale, Bob has very nice dwarf red and pink camellias, normally $24.99.